Alright, so we are live. Welcome to the very first episode of Roguelike Raider. We're going to be playing roguelike games. That's was one of my favorite types of games while I was growing up. And they had the advantage of being very replayable. They're very engrossing while you're playing them. Really lets your imagination take off. I will be starting our stream here with a version of Maria called uMoria, and it's actually on version 5.5. It's a DOS port of this, and yeah, this was one of my favorite games growing up. We're going to go ahead and start playing. We're just going to go right through playing the races and classes in order, and we'll just keep playing each character until they die, and then we'll pick up with the next one. Hopefully eventually we will actually make it down to the bottom of the dungeon and slay the Balrog. That's the goal of this game, is to make that journey and finish that quest. If we do that, maybe we'll move on to another roguelike game. We'll see. That will probably take quite some time. But let's get started. We'll talk about things as we go here. So as I said, I'm just going to go start at the top with a human. And at this point, what it's asking us to do is roll our stats like you would do in any D&D game. And it gives you the option to re-roll as many times as you want until you find the stats you're looking for. In this game, eventually it is possible to raise your stats with potions, all the way up to 18,100 for every stat. So really what this is kind of setting a beginning difficulty. Because in the end game, if you get that far, you're going to want all of your stats as high as possible. So I've just made the decision that I'm not going to spend time re-rolling. We're going to play a little bit hard mode here and just go with whatever they give us. So yeah, we're not going to re-roll. And the first class we'll play here will be a warrior. And we'll just go with the name Raider the First. This is our first character. Just gonna kind of stick with this naming convention, and we'll see how many characters it takes us before we finally beat the game. It could be hundreds. Who knows? So then on this screen, it kind of gives you an overview. It gives you your stats. Now that we've selected human and our class, it's updated the stats to reflect that. It's given us some bonuses some places. It's taken away some points other places. But yeah, it tells you. We actually are starting out pretty respectable here, with a strength of 18 and a 15 percentile. So that's pretty respectable, actually. That gives us a bonus to plus hit and to damage. We've got a dexterity of 15 that gives us a bonus of 1 to our armor class. It's probably not going to last very long as a bonus. And once you start wearing heavier armor, you start losing your dexterity armor class bonus. But that will be helpful to start with. It shows our level, our experience, how well, the most experiences that we've had. Some monsters in this game are actually experience draining monsters, so um, you can have less experience than your maximum experience. It shows you how much experience you need to advance and how much gold you start out with. Then there's your hit points, pretty self-explanatory, and mana, which we're not going to have to worry about with this character. Warriors never get any spells and any mana, so that's going to be a stat we can ignore for this run through. Then at the bottom there are various abilities. Fighting and bows affect how often you get critical hits with those kinds of weapons. The saving throw protects you from various bad things that can happen to you in the dungeon via traps or monsters that have special attacks. Stealth is how likely you are to be able to sneak past a monster. We are a warrior. We are not going to be sneaking past anything. We're not stealthy. Disarming is how well you do at disarming traps, opening doors, that sort of thing. Magic device, how likely you are to succeed when using a wand or a staff. You can fail at that. The better your magic device skill, the better you'll do. Perception, that's how good you are at noticing whether the items you're carrying are magical or not. If you hold on to something long enough, you will get a feeling about the item, if it's magical or cursed. And you'll get that from your perception skill. Searching is how good you are at searching out doors and traps. And infravision is a special skill that some races have. You can get it on some equipment actually too, which allows you to see warm-blooded creatures farther away in the dark. That's something that some races have intrinsically. As a human, we don't have that. And we're probably not going to worry too much about that if we wind up with it later. We'll see what that's about. Okay, so we are ready to go. In this episode, we're going to go ahead and I'll explain the town level here. This is where we start every game, and then we'll dive down to the first level, 50 feet, and clear that out. And I think that will be a good first episode, and we'll see where we are at that point. So, as you see, we start out on this town level. When we start the game, we have some items in our possession, and we can wear the things that we can wear. We get some soft leather armor, and a cloak, and a dagger. So then we also have some food and some torches for light once we get down in the dungeon. We can look around us. There's a blubbering idiot over there. And so on this screen, it tells you some information based on whether you or any of the characters you've played in the past have encountered a creature before, and it will give you stats about it. It tells you how many you've killed, or even how many times it's killed you. It tells you what level of the dungeon it's usually found on. In this case, the blubbering idiot is found in town. It tells you anything that you know about the monster, including how fast it moves, whether it has any special abilities, whether it carries anything, whether it's vulnerable to anything. If you kill enough of a monster, it will tell you its defensive statistics, like its armor and how many hit points it has. And if you are hit enough by a monster, it will tell you the specific information about its attack, namely like how much damage each attack does. So we'll see a lot more of this as we move on. That's just kind of an overview of that particular feature. So you'll notice we're on the town here, and there are 6 different buildings. They're all shops. I'll go through them in order. And this guy's coming for us. He can drool on you or something like that. So we'll just take care of him. We don't get any experience for anyone on the town level, but they are annoying, so we can get rid of them. And then once we do, you can recall those details, and let's see if we've killed 2 of them. And then it tells you how much experience it's worth for a character of your level, etc., etc. So the first shop here is the general store, and this store here is going to sell basic adventuring supplies. It sells food, sells light sources, cloaks, and iron spikes, as well as shovels and picks. I was really hoping there would be a pick or a shovel in here, but there's not, so we will have to get one next time. They really pay for themselves right away. But I will go ahead and purchase a lantern. Lanterns are nice. They last for much longer than torches. So when you buy something in this game, it kind of forces you to haggle with the shopkeeper, which is annoying. I don't really enjoy this part of the game. But especially at the beginning, you are so strapped for funds you can't afford not to. And eventually you get to if you haggle well enough, you'll get to their final offer where they won't give you any better price. So we'll go ahead and take that. And then we are going to need some flasks of ale, or from flask of oil rather, to fill up our lantern as we go along. If you are paying more than 3 gold for oil, you're doing it wrong. And we'll just go ahead and buy up to 5 flasks. Actually 6, because once we wear it, once we wield the lantern, we can go ahead and fill it with 1 extra right away. So then we'll have 5 in our inventory. Then we're going to go ahead and get some more food. Again, if you're paying more than 3, you're doing it wrong. So we'll get up to 10 rations of food. And the other items in the shop here, the beef jerky, the wine, the ale, the biscuit, they're like the food, they're just not as good. There's no reason that we would actually need them, unless for some reason the shop ran out of food. Okay, the iron spikes can be used to put in a door to jam it. That might be useful at some point if you're being chased by a monster and you want to spike that door so that they have a hard time getting through it. Or, I mean, some monsters in the dungeon can just open doors. If you do that, it might stop them for a while. We're not going to worry about that, really. That's not something we're going to concern ourselves with. But moving on to the next door. That's going to be the armory. And the armory, that is where we can buy all sorts of armor. So we enter the armory and you can see they have armor for sale. We can make a couple of quick, cheap upgrades here to start the game. We don't have anything in our feet yet, so let's go ahead and buy those soft leather boots. Again, it's making us haggle here. And we can go ahead and I'm just taking a look here. The actual armor is much too expensive for us right now. Anything magical is much too expensive for us right now. Um, as far as something for our head, I'm not sure that I want to pay as much as a metal cap is to do that. So we'll just go ahead and get a hard leather cap. It's only one armor class less. And I should have started that lower, I guess. Let's try that again. But yeah, it's only one armor class lower, and that's not going to make large difference at this point in the game. Okay, so 15 was his final offer anyways. So I'm not going to make a big deal of that right now. And the shields are both much too expensive for us right now. We're going to go ahead and skip that. Okay. And we've got a beggar chasing us down. They can only really be annoying. Sometimes they will just get in the way. We can get rid of them. Alright. And so the weapon shop, that's number 3 here, sorry. The weaponsmiths, that sells weapons of all sorts. So in this case, it sells daggers like we already have. Sells some pretty nice weapons. Oh, we can't afford any of those right now. And it also sells ranged weapons and the ammunition that goes with them. We're not going to concern ourselves very much with ranged weapons. In some roguelike games, they're very good. In this one, they're kind of a hassle because you can't stack your ammunition in your inventory. You only get 22 inventory spots, and to have 5 of them taken up with bundles of 20 arrows is not very efficient. So we're not going to concern ourselves very much with ranged weapons, I don't think. Unless maybe in some special circumstance, maybe we get a really nice one or something. You notice the ×2 or ×3 on the ranged weapons. That's the multiplier to the damage of the ammunition that you get when you use appropriate ammunition with that ranged weapon. You can just throw the arrows or bolts or sling bullets if you want, and they will do that amount of damage. An arrow will do 1d4 damage. If you use the appropriate ranged weapon, then you're going to get that multiplier on the damage. Okay, so that's the weapon store. There's nothing in there that we can afford right now. The next store, number 4, is going to be the temple. So this sells all sorts of priestly wares. It sells the priest spellbooks. It sells curative potions and scrolls and blunt weapons. That's what they sell here. There's nothing in this shop that we need right now. We will return here later. They can sell some things that you need sometimes, and so we'll go there occasionally. The next shop is the alchemy shop. In the alchemy shop, they sell all sorts of potions and scrolls. That's their deal. That's what they sell. They have a theme and they're sticking to it. And this is a very useful shop. As a warrior, especially, you don't get any of the magical effects intrinsically. You don't have spells to cast to identify items or to light up rooms or to do any of the special convenience things that some of the other classes get. So you have to rely on items to do those things for you. So we are actually going to buy a couple of things here. Now they have a scroll of phase door, which we're going to buy, and the scroll of phase door is very important as a first kind of escape mechanism. So if things are going badly, we can go ahead and read one of these scrolls. It'll give us a little space. So I'm going to go ahead and get 2 of those. Right, they do not have anything else here currently that we're looking for. That is something to be aware of. The last shop here is the magic shop. This sells all sorts of mage spellbooks, wands, staffs, jewelry. They sell some very useful things here. We will be visiting this shop quite a bit. It's the only place that will buy any of the wands or staffs or jewelry that we find in the dungeon. This is a shop that we will be visiting quite a bit. Also to try and buy some critical magical items. They don't have anything here that we can afford right now, so we will just go ahead and move on. I did notice that we forgot to sell our torches, so let's go ahead and sell the torches that we've got. They're not going to give us any more than 1 for them. We sold all our torches, and let's equip the other items that we bought, the cap and the boots. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and take our first dive into the dungeon. So, the greater than sign over here is the staircase. Well, I forgot to mention the @ symbol. That's us. That's kind of a standby in roguelike games, is that the @ symbol that signifies the player. And I'm going to change a couple of options real quick here. When we run, we can cut corners. That'll be fine. If there's a potential corner and we're running, we'll stop. That's fine. We don't want to print itself during run that just prints out that @ symbol as we're going along. That just slows us down. We do want to stop when the map sector changes. That can prevent us from running into traps blindly. We don't want to run through open doors. That can be dangerous. I do want a prompt to pick up objects so that we're not just picking up every piece of junk that we find in the dungeon. Like there can be shards of pottery or bones lying around. We don't need to pick that stuff up. I will use the roguelike commands. That's what I grew up learning to play with. It's just kind of the difference between using the number pad to move around versus a set of keys on the keyboard. And we're just going to use the keys on the keyboard rather than the number pad. I find it to be faster. And we will go ahead and show weights in our inventory. And we're not going to highlight and notice mineral seams right now. I'll explain what that is some other time. If we had a shovel or a pick, that would be a lot more relevant, but we don't. So down we go. And you'll notice immediately it says we pass through a one-way door. So in this particular roguelike, once you go down, there is no staircase behind you or up. There are no staircases behind you. You have to explore the level to find the next one. So we can look around here. There's a bit going on in this room right away here. I see a potion and a scroll. You'll notice, no, it's in iron spikes. as well as a gray mushroom patch. That's our first enemy, a gray mushroom patch. So let's go ahead and deal with that right away. The mushroom patches are tricky. They're marked as a comma, which it looks a lot like on the screen, like an apostrophe, which is used to denote a door. So they're very tricky. And you can see it was worth 1 experience for us. It has a movement speed just so that it can attack, but it never moves. There are several monsters in the dungeon like that. They don't move. They just kind of wait for you to come to them and do nasty things to you. Alright, so then notice purple speckled potion. What's that? We don't know. It's not going to tell us until we do a couple of things. Either it's not going to tell us unless we use it, or if you sell it to the shopkeeper in town, they will identify it before they put it in their inventory. Or if you use a scroll of identify on it, or if you happen to be a class that has the identify spell, cast identify. So that's how you find out what things are in the dungeon. Once you've used a particular potion or scroll, then you'll always know what that is in the future. If you have identified a wand or a staff or a ring, you will know what type it is in the future, but you won't necessarily know how many charges it has, or what the particular bonus or penalty is on it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and pick this up. We won't be using them. This is a scroll that hasn't been identified yet. They all look like nonsense until you have. And we'll go ahead and pick up those spikes to sell in town as well. But yeah, we're not going to use unidentified items unless it is absolutely like the last option that we have, because they can do some nasty things to you, and it's much safer not to. Oh, you can see that actually we cannot see around us right now, and that's because we don't have a light source equipped. So I'm going to go ahead and wield our lantern, and then fill it up with some more oil. Oh, we got an invisible creature here already. So if you have an invisible creature, you just kind of have to hope that you hit it. Unless you have an item which allows you to detect invisible things, and we don't have one of those right away. Alright, so we slayed the invisible thing, and we're just moving on here. We can see on the map about where we are. This is a very condensed view. It doesn't show a lot of details, but it gives you a general idea of where you are on the dungeon level. And no, we do not want to pick up a gnome skeleton. Small S is tricky. It's just a skeleton right now, but later on in the dungeon there are monsters that look like skeletons on the floor. So if you're not careful, that can trap you. Moving along. Oh, found some money on the ground. That's good. Free money. And we're just continuing to explore here. We find another monster. Designates a rodent of some sort. We don't know anything about this yet. So let's go ahead and just take care of it, and then we can see its stats that we know so far. A plus on your map, that's a closed door, so we can open it. This one appears to be stuck, so we have to actually bash the door in to open it. That was a fun detour there. All right. So I'm just going to continue to explore down another stuck door. All right. So most doors, if they're open like this, it marks as an apostrophe. It gives you the option to close the door. So, however, once you have successfully bashed in a door, you can no longer close it because you broke it. So that's something fun. And yeah, we've made it all the way down the right side of the dungeon. Let's start moving left. And there are a lot of secret doors in this game. You find them by searching for them. We've got search mode on right now that takes a little bit of extra time and searches as you walk, or searches more thoroughly as you press the search button. But it does take extra time, so you want to not use it constantly. Okay, so here we've got some copper is in a quartz vein. This is where we need to have that shovel or pick. We can tunnel into it. We can tunnel as long as we want. We're not going to get it out unless we're either super strong or we have that shovel or pick. And oh wow, we already found our first wand. We have no idea what it does yet. We could try zapping it, or zap it at a monster, see what happens. Again, that can be a bad idea because some of the wand effects. Oh, there's actually an open pit in the floor. That's unusual that you can just kind of see that. All right. Usually traps are hidden until you search them out. But yeah, some monsters or some wands will actually make a monster go faster, or heal a monster, or turn a monster into another monster, which could be much worse for you. So yeah, it's dangerous to just go firing those things off without knowing what they are. So here we've got a worm mass. Just gonna go ahead and take care of that. We need another 4 experience points to reach level 2, so that should happen fairly soon here. Yeah, we're moving through the dungeon here, making pretty good time. And as you play more and more roguelike games, you start to just kind of have a feeling for where secret doors are in levels. Oh, there's a worm mass in the hall here. Just continuing along. I like to kind of try and explore the outsides of the map before going too much into the middle. There's some rubble here. Oh, there's a mouse. Alright. As you spend more time in a dungeon, monsters will actually spawn in the level that weren't there. There are some monsters that are there right away when the level is spawned, but others, I'll pick those up, we can sell those in town. But other monsters spawn as you go. It's good to not leave yourself open to attack from too many directions at once. And that's just an empty bottle, we don't need to pick that up. Can't even sell it. It looks just like a regular potion, but it's just an empty bottle. We're making our way along here. We're on the left side of the map now. Okay. Could be, yep, there's a secret door right there. There's probably another one here as well, yeah. Oh, we got a floating eye, and we are now level 2. So you see, we actually got 7 more hit points. That's not a great roll for a warrior, but it is something. So we got 7 more hit points, and eventually as you level up, sometimes some of your miscellaneous abilities will get better. Otherwise, for warriors, not a lot changes, except you get more hit points, and your experience to the next level you can see is higher than it was for this level. Every level that you get the experience for the next level gets to be more and more. Eventually, that will be in the tens or hundreds of thousands to get more experience for the next level. And there is a level cap in this game. It's at a certain amount of experience. I don't know what that amount of experience is right now. So let's keep going here. All right, doing a pretty good job of exploring this level here. It's going well. Some doors are locked. You have to try and pick the lock. Your disarm skill helps with this. You do get an experience point though when you successfully pick a lock. At low levels, that one experience point can actually be pretty significant. I mean, when you only need 15 experience for the next level, one experience, that's a good portion of the way there. When you need thousands, it's nothing. So, okay, so you can see here, we've got these worm masses. You've killed a couple of these before. But there's a bunch of them now, and that is because they multiply. So if you, see there it was, and now we'll know that it happens. Now that we've observed it happening, you can see that in the monster description that it can breed explosively. Some monsters breed more explosively than others. Worm masses aren't terrible, but if they get out of hand, as a class without a area of effect attack, they can take over a level if you're not careful. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and clean house with these a bit. There's a strategy in this game sometimes where you will let a monster that breeds continue to breed, and then just keep killing it over and over for more experience. That's called farming. That's not something I think we're going to get into too much here, but we just found a snake and we killed it. The letter R denotes a reptile, which is usually a snake in this game. You can see a large white snake. It's normal to find one at this level. They're not very difficult. Alright, moving along. And yep, picked another lock. And here we've got a centipede. The centipedes are very common. There's a lot of different types of them. You'll find a lot of them on the easier dungeon levels. So backtrack a bit here. We've the end of the line there. Alright, so here we are going ahead and we're starting to get, another mushroom patch. They're tricky, they kind of sneak up on you by not moving at all. And so here we are, we see another centipede. This one's a white one. The last one we fought was yellow. The white centipede is pretty comparable. The yellow one is actually slightly tougher. We're continuing on here. And there's another white centipede. As warriors, we're very effective at just fighting monsters. That is kind of the advantage to being a warrior, is that you have very consistent damage. We don't get any of the kind of quality of life things. And we made level 3, so we gained a bunch more hit points that time, so that's good. And our next level will be 20 experience points away. Now you can see our fighting skill already went from very good to excellent here. So that means we'll do more critical hits. So as a fighter, you don't get the quality of life things like being able to identify items or light up rooms or those kinds of handy things or attack easily from a distance. But what you do get is very, very consistent damage output. You can do the same amount of damage right up until the time you die. With a mage, I mean, once you run out of mana, you pretty much have to try and run away. Because without mana, a mage is an easy target. You don't have hit points, and you're generally not as strong, so you're not doing as much damage. I mean, eventually a mage can be that strong, but they're never going to have as many hit points as a warrior, and you're not going to want to be standing toe-to-toe with too many monsters. So that is the advantage of being a warrior, is that you can just go slug it out with anything that's pretty much appropriately leveled. If you get in too deep, then you'll be in trouble. But unless you do that, you have a pretty good chance of surviving any encounter where you're a new monster here. We got a kobold. And there's a lot more money in the wall right there. I really wish we had a shovel or a pick. So we got a worm mass and a white snake. Unidentified scroll. Right. Moving right along. We're getting pretty close to finishing this level. More money in the walls there. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to finishing this level up. And there's something invisible here. So a strategy with this is if there are invisible things, you kind of try and back up into a hallway, so that you're not guessing what direction it's coming from. And we've got some more worm masses there. Was it just the two of them? Yep. Okay. Even more money in the walls. Yeah. If we had a pick or a shovel, it would have paid for itself already. Alright. But we will do without until we can find one. Right, and we are just about done exploring this level here. There's another invisible monster. And a lot of invisible things for this first level. Fortunately, they're not difficult invisible things. We just can't see them. Alright, so that is this level basically explored. Let's go ahead and head back up to town. So to do that, to go down, you find a greater than symbol. To go up, you find a less than symbol. And we can see on our map that there is one over to our left. So we'll go ahead and find that and head back up to town. Alright, and so the battle-scarred veteran here is an example of a monster, even on town level, that can fight back with you, and they're actually pretty tough. If we were a different class, we might not have been able to defeat one at 3rd level. Okay, so let's go ahead and sell our items here. You'll notice that you can't sell everything at the store. You can only sell an item to a store if they sell it themselves. So at the general store, you can sell light sources, food, iron spikes, and digging things, as well as cloaks. And they do have a pick this time, so we're going to pick that up, so to speak. We're going to pick that up after we sell our spikes. So again, try and haggle with them a bit here. And boy. Okay, here we go. They're not giving as much as I expected for them. Final offer 11. Suppose there are only 18. Sometimes you get bigger stacks. Alright, and they are not going to buy anything else that we want to sell right now. So let's go ahead and just pick that pick up. Alright. So now that we have a pick, we can go ahead and equip that as our spare weapon. And then we can easily just switch back and forth between our main weapon and our spare weapon. It's very handy. Alright, let's go ahead and sell some of these items here. Alright. I'm going to sell them in the alchemy shop for now. Because they're going to eventually have a lot of items that we're going to want. And special feature here, since haggling is such a hassle, if you are good enough at it, eventually a store will just start to give you their final price right away. So we want to get to that point with the alchemy shop fairly quickly. Oh, yeah, we sold them a potion of slowness. If we had just drunk that in the dungeon, we would have been moving slower for a time. It wouldn't have been fatal for us on the first level of the dungeon, but if you drank that deeper in the dungeon, that might kill you. Alright, so let's go ahead and sell this scroll. And a scroll of blessing, that's actually, that's not a terrible price to get for that. Alright. And a scroll of detect invisible. That would have been handy. You could have seen what was attacking us. Oh, okay, so that was a scroll of phase door. Again, though, if you just read that in the dungeon, you are going to teleport yourself a little bit, and you might find yourself in a pickle. Who knows? Alright, so next up we've got one more scroll to sell them here. Oh no, that was a scroll of identify. That's the problem with doing this. Sometimes you'll sell them something good that you would have wanted, but yeah, we'll find more scrolls of identify. Next time we see one in the dungeon, we'll know what it is. Alright, so next up, let's go ahead and sell off these pebbles. I don't really know what price to ask for these. No. Okay. 14 apparently is their final offer for 22 pebbles. And then in the future, the kind of weapon that we really want is something like a bastard sword. It does 3 die 4 damage. The halberd also does a 3 die 4 damage, but it's a lot heavier. So if a weapon is light enough, you get multiple attacks with it, or something like even maybe like a long sword or something like that if it's magical enough. But a bastard sword is really kind of the ideal weapon, simply because it has a good damage range, and it's light enough that we still get 2 attacks with it. Okay, so we have nothing else to sell there. Let's go ahead and sell that wand. It's coming towards us, a blubbering idiot. Alright. And a beggar. So we sell the wand here. Yeah, there's nothing we can afford here right now. It would be really nice to get that amulet of resist acid. We'll find another one later. A lot of monsters in the dungeon can damage your armor and equipment with acid attacks. So having that resist acid ability is very important, so that you're not wasting money on armor. So yeah, let's go ahead and sell that wand. And wait. Like 32 for an unidentified wand, huh? Oh, there we go. That's 32 free gold, though, because that was a wand of heal monster. So, if you actually sell them something that they will sell, they go ahead and stock it right in their store and sell it back to you at a huge markup. If you sell something that's cursed or useless, they just take that loss and they don't stock it. All right, so I think that is it for this episode. I will be back next time, and we'll go down to 100 feet. So thank you very much for joining me, the Roguelike Raider. Until next time, go ahead and raid some dungeons of your own.